Hello everyone, so I'm back and this is the latest version of Giga Guy. So this is a new boss that I developed over the weekend. This is Wood Guy. So basically he has these bullets that rotate around him. He has four of them that will rotate around him. Then every time he jumps, he will shoot up bullets above, and these bullets will then fall, and they've got like this little back and forth pattern whenever they fall. So it makes it a little bit harder for you to avoid those. Another change that I also made is now whenever your bullets collide with the enemy's bullets, then they will instantaneously just be destroyed. So you can't shoot through the enemy's bullets anymore. So this is going to be a close one. Yes, I barely... Oh, but I got destroyed in the process. So this boss took a little while to develop, a little bit longer than the other bosses that I had developed. I had to do some external scripting to actually get these bullets, the enemy bullets, to rotate around the character, because that was a little bit harder to do just in Playmaker by itself. So there we go, we've defeated Wood Guy. And one other change I also made, now I have it where you can press a numeric key on the keyboard and that will switch to the other previous bosses. Now this Air Guy boss, like the previous Wood Guy boss, you can no longer shoot through his projectiles anymore. So that makes it a little bit more difficult to defeat these other bosses. And the same with Metal Guy. Basically this level is the same except for not being able to shoot through the projectiles anymore. And as always, I'm still using the standard stand-in graphics from the Unity Asset Store. I believe this is Robot Kyle. So once I get all the gameplay finished, all the mechanics done, all the boss patterns and all that finished, I'll probably go back and do some modeling and make these characters look a little bit better. And also the next thing that I want to do, I want to finish the remaining bosses, but I also want to have a select screen so you can actually select which boss you want to fight against. And also I would like to have a title screen, and title screens usually aren't too difficult to develop. I also want to very briefly show what this looks like inside of the Unity editor. As you can see, there's really nothing in the scene at all except for like the camera and the light source. But when you press the play button, everything in the scene will be populated from the different prefabs. You can scroll down and you can see the prefabs that I had defined. So each boss is a prefab himself, and you have the different kinds of bullets because each of the bullets have a different pattern which they follow. I actually have two bullets for the Wood Guy because there's one that goes up and then it falls down and kind of goes back and forth when it falls down. Then I have the bullets that go around in circles. And then you have the player object as well. I only have one scene currently defined in the game, which is the game itself. I have 3 different rooms defined, and also have a level manager game object up here, which is associated with an FSM. So basically, it starts up, and I have a global variable that tracks which level is selected. Then based on this global variable, it will either go to the Air Guy, Metal Guy, or Wood Guy stages. So you can click on one of these states, you can see it transitions to each one of their respective bosses. So for Air Guy, then it's going to activate the air room, or the room for the air level, and then it's going to create the air boss. and it's going to put him, it's going to turn him 90 degrees, and then it's going to put him on the far right side of the screen. And of course, once the level is loaded, it also creates the player object, and we spawn him on the left side of the screen. Basically have all of the things that I've imported into the from the Unity Asset Store into an imports folder. That way it lets me keep track of what I've downloaded from the Asset Store. It's all free to use and I believe free to distribute, but if I was to put this out on a major marketplace, I would like to have all of my own designed assets and models. But I was able to get a lot of nice assets off the asset store, such as this Elementals pack. And in this, you have prefabs, like fire prefabs, and this is where you get the big explosions. Like I can drag that big boom right there, and it just explodes. So you can get a lot of nice particle effects on for free off of the Unity Asset Store. And I also got the robot Kyle right here. This little robot man that's representing the player and the bosses, and also have like textures that I've downloaded from free texture hosting sites. And these are the textures that I apply on each of the levels. I have materials. These are basically very simple materials that are assigned to the bullets and characters. And finally, the scripts. And this was the most difficult part with the Wood Guy boss. Go to Prefab, and I can select Wood Guy. You can see here, I got a few different FSMs for him. Got a health FSM, which basically detects when he gets hit by one of my bullets. And then it does a check, and if his health falls to 0 or below, then it will go to the kill action that will spawn that big bang explosion particle effect, and then it will play a destruction sound, and then it will destroy itself. But if it just gets hit, it subtracts 1 from its FSM health variable, which is just an integer. Also have a jump that's carried over from the player FSM. Typically I just use a force when the enemy needs to jump. The movement, basically I lumped in both the shooting and the moving into this one. And you can see this one's a little bit more involved. So for Wood Guy, this is the FSM that I have for him. He starts up, he waits 2 seconds, then he starts shooting the first type of bullets. Those are the ones that go up. So he creates 4 of those. Then he starts spawning the bullets to go around in circles. This is a changed movement, so every time after he's finished spawning the bullets, based on where he is in the game room, if he's far to the right, then he's going to turn around and start going to the left. If he's far on the left, then he's going to start going back to the right. That's all this does, is it changes his direction. Then after that's finished, if it needs to be changed. If it doesn't need to be changed, then it's going to go straight over to set up move. It's going to set the position he's going to move to. Then he's going to wait for a second. That's when he's just standing there and the little circles or bullets are spinning around him. Then he's going to move toward that next position. And also I'm going to apply a force of 300 in the upward Y direction to give him a little bit of a jump whenever he moves. Then after that, we'd start all over again, back to the very first shooting state. So that's basically it. These bullets are also somewhat interesting. So here's the first type of bullet. I give the bullet a lifetime of 10 seconds, so that way I don't keep accumulating bullets when they go off the game screen. After 10 seconds, they will automatically self-destroy. That way I don't have like a memory leak of bullets that are still allocated over and over again. So it will just destroy itself. And this is what causes it to move. So it's going to spin for 2 seconds. Then we're going to move in the positive Z direction. But my spinning code, it does call a helper method, since it can be difficult to actually do that in Playmaker. So I have a script, and it's the wood bullet spin. I just call it spin. And basically I created two constants: the speed of the spin, then also the radius, how far out the bullets are away from the center of the Wood Guy boss character. Then I have an angle value. And one problem that I had was trying to spawn 4 bullets at 4 different locations on each side of the boss. So basically I just keep track of how many bullets have been spawned, and based on that number, the ID or the count value, then it will set the angle. So the angle basically starts at 0 on the far right side, then it goes up to 90 degrees, or pi over 2. All these are in radians. Then when it goes down to the spot to the left of the boss, then that's 180 degrees or pi. And then when it gets to the bottom, then that's 3/2 pi, or 270 degrees. Then it goes back up to the original position, which is 0 or 360 degrees. So basically, I just keep incrementing the angle value, and that's what makes it spin. So I'm taking the sine, and that is what makes it go up and down in a smooth circular position in the y direction. Then I take the cosine on the x direction, so it gives you that smooth. So if you put both the smooth transition of the sine and the cosine together, that's what gives you a circle. And then I just translate. But I have to subtract off the previous amount that it's translated in both the x and y direction, because if I just keep translating, it's just going to keep moving over more and more and more and more. So basically, if I take the difference, then it's going to go over to the left as it's coming around, then it's going to come back to the right. So that's why you got to do the delta between the previous and next value of that, either the sine or the cosine. And for the bullets that are falling, the ones that shoot up and going to come down, I pretty much do the same thing. I basically copied and pasted the code in the x direction, or the so when they come down smoothly like that, like a leaf falling. So that's basically it. That's what I have this week for Giga Guy. Again, I'm doing this for the Mini LD62, and hopefully I will post this soon. I have a few more bosses I want to implement. Wood Guy turned out to be a little bit more difficult than I had expected. So stay tuned, and hopefully I'll have more bosses soon. Thanks everyone for watching.